r/ask Reddit. If you had $1 billion but only could spend 1% on yourself, what would you do with the other 99%? $1 billion is so much that people in this thread are, even in many of the most impressive displays of conscientiousness or conspicuous consumption, wildly selling their dreams short. 1,000,000 seconds is 12 days, 1,000,000,000 seconds is 31 years. People drastically underestimate the scale of a billion. And a trillion is for all intents and purposes an infinite amount of dollars. Set up a Nigerian prince scam that isn't a scam. You could even buy a victim list from a scam company and work on getting scammed people their money back. But if they learned, they would never accept the money. Random large gifts to strangers outside of payday loan offices to help free them of that cycle. Oh god, I always felt so bad for this one dude that came in. I worked at a bank. Every week, dude would bring in his payday loan checks to bring his negative balance up to a positive. Sometimes the payday loan wasn't enough, and we wouldn't be able to give him any money back from the deposit. He always looked on the verge of tears. That's such a vicious cycle to be in. I've seen my relatives get caught up in that shit. The question has way too much money involved. I don't think you realize how much that is. It's enough where you could make sure every single one of your friends and family never had to worry about rent or normal bills ever again. You could give every person in the US $3. Congress just outlawed your idea as too radical. Sorry. Clear debt for as many people as possible. Some would go towards loans and mortgages of people I know. But for the most part I'd try to buy up things like medical debt and student loans and just forgive it there and then. My 1% would go towards safe investments, getting me set for life. And you know what sucks about doing that though? Is that you're allowing these businesses to continue charging high rates and high prices because they know someone like you will be able to pay it off. That's how I see college tuition, because they know the government will assist them paying for students' debts, as an example. Schools, healthcare, food, shelter, bang, taken care of for as many as possible. You would bang as many people as possible? I also choose this guy's dead wife. Create a company that manufactures insulin cheaply and affordably and drive those bastard companies into the dirt with my prices and keep people alive. Father of a T1D daughter, I've already been banned from other subs for explaining what would happen if a company ever put me in the position to where I felt like I had nothing to lose. I am a very patient man. Whatever my dog wanted. In my case this would end with me being locked in the house, with private security making sure I was never allowed out without a dog. I buy $GME for my brother. As for my 1%, I buy $GME for me. Half to my mama, half to my dad. They've dealt with $1 billion worth of my shit. Then you could ask them for anything you want and they'd have the money to get it for you. Thumbs up. Invest it in renewable energy production. Use the returns to fund climate change projects and research into stuff like emergent battery tech and carbon capture sequestration tech. I was thinking this, but invest it in poor nations, because they are the ones where the grids will keep relying on fossil fuels as they increase in size. Try to change that immediately in at least a few nations, both helping a country lift itself from poverty while also doing it greenly. I could live with getting only $10 million. Spend the $990 million as a sugar daddy. I am spending the money on someone else. So I still am following the question. Male, female, neither or both. All are welcome. I'm not too picky. Buy a lot of housing for people who struggle to afford it. My dream is to start a non-profit to help improve conditions for disabled adults, especially those with developmental disabilities like autism, as there's jack all for us right now. Seems like once you turn 18 you're on your own. But also I'd create a really cool botanical garden for my city that had all the weirdest plants that exist in the world, just like as a passion project. I would be pretty set for life with $10 million, so I'd use the rest of the money to try and find a way to help in our fight against global warming in the hope for a future for my grandkids. Buy my mom the house and donate the rest to conservation, environment and campaign for sustainability practices within companies. Fight climate change. Provide basic health and education to kids. Take care of animals. I would use my remaining money to happy face with hugging hands. Start a goddamn school. A private school for my local area that offers free education K-12 for low-income students. Free transportation for them. Free meals. Free uniforms. Free everything. Teachers get paid at least $80K a year. All the physical infrastructure gets paid for upfront so there are no ongoing costs. Then any remaining money gets put into a trust that generates money to pay for the school in perpetuity and hopefully grow the trust. Organizations, science, and charities. I would seriously invest in genetic testing labs to go through the mountain of backlogged rape kits. I'd make it so that all does had their DNA run against GenGed and then also perp DNA too. I would set up scholarship programs for the top 5 jobs that were needed in the country and reevaluate every 5 years. I would lobby hard for prison reform. No more private prisons and charging inmates' families large obscene charges on collect calls. I would also found the Innocence Project. I would also open up job centers in every major city to train those that need jobs and housing. I would probably put the $990 million into cancer research. My grandmother that I was really closest to out of all 4 of my grandmothers, passed away from her 3rd battle with cancer in 2019. It made me realize that what we have is not to be taken for granted. As soon as you feel comfortable with it, they are gone. To see the look on my dad's face, she was his mom, was bad enough. It was one of, if not the biggest loss in my family. She loved everyone. Family, friends, strangers, and most of all, God. Her nickname was Grandma Happy because she always was happy. She was always kind and forgiving. Because of her being heavily religious. But to lose her, it affected so many people. On Wednesdays, my brother, dad, and I would go over to visit and eat dinner at my grandparents' place. To go from doing that every Wednesday, and just stopping because she was gone, realizing that it was all cancer that took her and affected so many people's lives. I wished she made it long enough for my dad's birthday. He was her oldest and closest child. He's 52. But you get it. And his birthdays was 12 days after she had passed. I would say mine as well, but that is selfish because I am one of many grandchildren on my dad's side of the family. Too long didn't read. I would put the money into cancer research because of my close grandmother I lost almost 2 years ago to cancer. I'd spend my life as a philanthropist, but instead of helping a lot of people at once, I'd spend it helping one person at a time. That homeless person you see begging in the same spot every day, yeah, he's getting an apartment, rent paid for 2 years. He's getting 1x $250 grocery store card mailed to him every week for those 2 years. See a parent struggling to get by driving a rundown car. Yeah, they're getting a new car and maybe some sort of trip for the kids along with some new clothes and something that the mother needs to make life easier. Putin? Yeah, he's getting a sack of dildos once a month. Libraries. I'd set up a whole bunch of libraries with multiple VR systems. Gamestop. I'd open up a bunch of Gamestops and all of the profit goes back to the employees. The better they do, the bigger their paycheck. All employees essentially become part owner. Send my nephew to the finest rehab. Help my oldest niece start her restaurant. Buy my sisters each a house. Set up trust funds for my youngest niece and my kids. Start an endowment with the rest to fund financial equality initiatives for BIPOC. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.